Ever since pandemic.
This episode is brought to you by Mandalay Bay. Make sure you check out the brand new S-Bar, which is an upscale social space that combines a craft cocktail experience with a lush lounge ambiance. Drinks are fire.
Lush lounge. I love that. Let's
Very
go.
good. The major weekends in Las Vegas continue as the Grammys will be broadcasting live from MGM Grand April 3rd. Make sure to tune in to see how Vegas does award shows different than any other city. And if you have not seen Silk Sonic starring Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, make sure to go get your tickets.
Out the window.
Yeah, make sure to get your
Fire.
tickets for the remaining shows in March and April. You might see us on stage. You might not.
You probably won't.
As always, come say what's up at our studio inside the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook. See you guys soon.
I don't know what day it is anymore.
Welcome home. This is the Residency Podcast. I am Jeff Tomasic with Drew Belcher and Lo Raven, bringing you the biggest guests and stories in entertainment, business, pop culture, and sports from our studio on the Las Vegas Strip inside the Mandalay Bay. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You know the drill. Major episode today for you guys.
Big guest.
Major episode again. He is the original rockstar chef. He has won every culinary award imaginable, and you've seen his restaurants all over the world. Plus, he just opened his new hotel and restaurant in downtown Las Vegas. Todd English, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks, Jeff and Drew.
And a big bruncher.
Yeah.
Loves brunch. Loves brunch on the weekends.
Oh, you a big brunch guy? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, well, listen, the day party is in now.
The day party
Come on,
is-
bring it. Yeah.
We both have kids, so the day party is pretty much the only time where we thrive.
Yeah, I had to sneak out last weekend to go to the brunch at the Garden. I had to sneak out.
That's good, though. Every once in a while you got to get out,
Yeah.
Say, hey, kids, Dad's going out. Be
I'm
back
out.
in a minute, right?
And I came back just blasted.
Yeah, as long as I can get back by 6 p.m. feeling right. I like that. I
I know. I
that.
used to travel so much. My kids would go, Mommy, there's a strange man in the house. I go, no, that's your father.
He lives here.
No,
He lives here.
no, that's the guy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the guy. It's a picture. That's the picture of him on the wall. Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
Yep.
Just come in with slow steps. Hello, everyone remember me. Voice recognition.
That's it.
I love it. Well, look,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on the show. We
Yes,
appreciate you.
Great to be on. This is a great setup. Like
Thank
it
you.
here. Yeah, really nice.
Todd's going to be
Yeah.
a recurring guest now every single week.
Hey,
It's
I'm
easy.
in. I'm in, baby. That's it. Let's go. A recipe of the week.
Yes.
Whatever that is, we got it.
You just named it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the segment now. There it is.
100%.
Recipe has lots of different meanings, though. So
I
we'll get into
believe
that.
it.
That's another show.
Sprinkle of this, sprinkle of that. All right, look, we're super curious about the past for a little bit.
Oh,
Can you let us
little
know?
history lesson here?
Yeah, a little history
Okay.
lesson. What was the restaurant scene in the 80s and 90s like in the early part of your career? How different was it than what it is now?
Yeah, I know. You gave me that question before I came here, and I've been sort of thinking about it along the way. And I think that, my basic answer is that it obviously was a much younger, greener, more innocent, I think, way of sort of restaurateurs. We were, when I got into this business, which was a long time ago, and people said, "You're going where? To chef school?" And it was like, no Americans were going to chef school. There was one culinary school, or actually 1.5. Johnson & Wales had some, but it was the Culinary Institute of America. There was less than 1,000 students. There was a long waiting period to get in, and you had to actually apply and try out to go in those days. Anyway, so what happened in the infancy of what happened in the change of restaurants in America? I mean, the first restaurants I worked in the early 80s or late 70s even, when I first started cooking, well, it makes me sound really old, but...
No, not even. Come on.
It's fine.
But, it was like steakhouses. It was very standard hotel food. There was not that much adventurous stuff. And I fortunately got involved with a chef that was by the name of Jean-Jacques Rachoux in New York City. Literally was lucky to get a job, and it was sort of the beginning of the new American revolution of cooking. There was a lot of American chefs, French chefs teaching us to cook, beating the heck out of us in the kitchen.
Right.
Those the old sort of, it was not a school of hard knocks, let's just say. And then so it blossomed into us wanting to really develop the restaurant business. And so that innocence turned into ambition of creating what American restaurants became and are today. And you go from French Laundry to some of the cafes around the world and things. I mean, in the States that are really about local ingredients, local food, and what's changed in this kind of people that want quality and want something adventurous and want to have fun. And it became from just going out to eat to the entertainment business.
Very
Sure.
The evolution has been unreal.
Yeah, and it really happened quickly. I mean, really fast. If you think about it, in Europe it went over hundreds of years. Here it was 20, 30 years, not even 10 years, and all of a sudden, restaurants were the place to be, bars, cool clubs, music. I mean, I remember we used to get a lot of, one of the first things we did in Boston, and when I opened in a neighborhood that was getting gentrified called Charlestown, and we turned the music up loud, and we didn't allow smoking, and we did things that people would go, "What? I can't," And we had a party. It was a party. It's sort of a fun environment. We changed the environment. People didn't understand, but they had such a good time, and it was such a successful restaurant because no one had ever done that. So, and you see, that's the vibey places are very hip now.
It seems so obvious now, but looking back then,
So I guess the basic line was there was a lot of camaraderie as well. I think all the restaurateurs that I dealt with in Boston and New York and the East Coast, everybody would be very respectful and encouraging, and it was like we'd help each other out. So it was great. I mean, it was a small community. Now, the world's bigger. There's more chefs. There's more. You look at how many musicians are out there now and playing.
Sure.
It's the same thing in the chef world. There's a lot of amazing talent, a lot of young chefs with lots of tattoos.
just right.
Like the tatted chefs that are now.
Yeah, the full sleeves of pizza and shit.
Look at the Botagios, who's one of my buddies, and are really cool and innovative and do great stuff. And so it's exciting. I find that, food is our greatest democracy. And I think that the exciting thing for me in this business is that people, it's a way, it brings everybody together.
It really does.
And it doesn't matter what generation. And now, with the onslaught of social media, I know we want to talk about that, and the people know food and study it, and so you can just go to where's lychee from, or is it lychee or lychee? What do you call it? What's an heirloom tomato, heirloom legume or something, and you can just go in 2 minutes. You have that information,
right?
Even at your table, and so it's exciting. I'm more encouraged about the business than ever now. And pandemic was not an easy time, but I think that there's a better appreciation for it now.
Do you think going to culinary school is still as important now, since, like you said, the access to information is so vast and quick?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that there's many ways to look at it. I think probably in the sense of what culinary schools should be is really a great foundation, but they don't need to be maybe not as thorough in the sense that you need to be out there really working in the field. You need to really, I think there needs to be more of that practical application as opposed to the theoretical idea of actually, just going to a class and you don't really learn what it's really about. I mean, you think about my class, it was a ply system in the culinary, and really, I looked at my alma mater, because no one in my class is still in the business.
Oh wow!
And I graduated a long time ago, but it's like so that tells you how hard it is, and a lot of people don't survive it because it's hours, it's grueling, it's
For
brutal.
sure.
You get the crap kicked out of you sometimes, and you got to come back and go, okay, lick your wounds and come back and do it again, because you got to love what you do and to do it.
Well, obviously, you had a couple successes along the way.
I've had I've had a few ups and downs along the way, but I mean, that's how it is, I still believe in taking chances, and I think that you got to do that, and say, okay, I'm going to open a hotel in an area of the town that, well, is it up and coming? Is it not? But I'm going to take that chance. And we did. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So after all these years, like you said, going to culinary school, all the trials and tribulations, the roller coaster of just a madness industry, what's one thing you would tell young Todd English?
Great question. I probably would say be more patient.
Fair.
I think that, when I opened my first restaurant, I was 27 years old. It's and I it was a time when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. Let me just see what I can do. And everything I tried to do was so fast, and as opposed to slowing down a little bit and taking in the process a little bit more, as opposed to like rushing ahead to the next thing. Because I think sometimes, it just when you're in a creative mode, that's what happens, and you forget that you need to focus on this and then move to the next and move to the next. That's probably what I would say to
Also,
the
when you're
child.
young, you want it all and you want it now.
And you want it now.
Yeah. Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Especially when you get a taste of success, right?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, what's next?
All
I need
right.
more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm already bored with that. Let's
Yeah,
go next.
build it on. Next. Pile it on. This city, that city, this
I
restaurant,
could
that
go.
restaurant.
I mean, at one point I had almost 58 restaurants in my career, which were either management deals, partnerships. But I would travel so much that and then I had my my food trip travel show, which so I was doing 15 to 26, 27 episodes a year, which would take, two in a week we could film 2 episodes. So do the math on that. I was gone. So unless I was doing HSN, Home Shopping Network, every other month. So I was going down for.
I heard the Home Shopping Network brand, it was unreal, like massive.
It was great run for about 10 years. We crushed it. So I did it for 18 years, and I actually moved to Evine after HSN was sold to QVC. But we're still talking to them about going back on. But it was wild. It's a wild thing. Yeah.
How do you look after that many different restaurants and concepts and numerous different concepts at once without all hell just going to shit?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I am not gonna lie.
Yeah, we have 2 jobs and we're just trying to juggle the podcast and everything.
I mean, obviously, you have to have a really good team around you, and that was one of the things that, when I talk about the community of what I do, and one of the things I love is bringing up young talent or recognizing younger talents, and so I got as much satisfaction out of building restaurants that were about, something that I dreamt up, whatever, like the pub at REO, whatever the concept was, and then bringing up young chefs that would, watching them grow, watching them win James Beard Awards, watch them win cooking awards, whatever it was, watch them get asked to do television shows or morning shows. That to me was actually, if there's a legacy of anything that I do, that's really one of them.
Sure.
Besides my children, but
Sure.
that's certainly because it's cool. I think it's cool to see that when they come at you and they're bright-eyed and they want to learn and they're like, and then they mature and grow and then you go, wow, you're kicking ass, man.
Yeah,
That's
and you had a
crazy.
play in that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, the mentoring part's pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, like you said, how much you have to have an absolute monster team and be confident in them if you're going to have that many restaurants across that many cities and countries.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
involved are you after a restaurant's open and operating for a while?
Right.
How involved are you really with the restaurant?
Very, very much so. Very much on a pretty regular basis. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, you have to be there. You have to make sure that
Standards are where they
standards are high. There's meetings, and today, this is before there was any the way we communicate now.
like
which
Zoom
is
now,
Sure,
and
sure.
FaceTime,
FaceTime.
Yeah.
And that it didn't exist.
Group chats,
You
yeah.
couldn't just take a photo on your phone. When I was, when I first started. And now you
sounds
can't-
insane.
Yeah.
It sounds nuts.
It does. I mean, isn't it strange? It wasn't that long ago.
It really wasn't, to be honest. I mean, we saw the original iPhone launch, and we're just like, what is this?
I don't know if I could live without it at this
I
point.
remember the guy that started House of Blues. So I was working with him, Isaac Tigard. I don't know if you know that name, but he started Hard Rock Cafe anyway years ago. And I remember we were walking around one day in Hollywood because I helped him open up the House of Blues in LA. I helped them with all their. That was part of our portfolio. I helped
Sure.
him with the foundation room and the menus anyway. So long story short, he says, "Hey man," because he was a Bear Visionary. He goes, "Hey man, one day we're going to be walking around with these gadgets, and it's going to be our phone. It's going to be our music. We're going to order on them. We're going to book flights on them. We're going to book hotel rooms. I'm like, nah, man.
That seems ridiculous. Stick to House of Blues, man.
Yeah, I know. Here we are. So,
it's outrageous. Well,
Yeah.
so speaking of that, so what do you think about social media now? How has it changed the landscape of restaurants, in your opinion?
Yeah. God, there's many different facets to that, the answer to that question, okay? One, I love the immediacy, the satisfaction of it. I try not to be an Instagram junkie, but I am somewhat. And I'm scrolling and looking food in places all over the world. And I go, damn, that's amazing. Why didn't I think of that? Or, wow, that's a great inspiration. This is what I can do to make it my own, or whatever it is. I love that part. I think that where I find the downfall in it is that we get Instagram chefs.
Yep.
Okay, and that, whereas you can go on and learn music, you can do all sorts of things, learn languages, you can travel around the world on your phone now. And with food, there's still, you need to have the backbone on how to cook. You can't just look at a picture on an Instagram and go, okay, I'm going to make
recreate this.
Yeah, I'm not going to recreate that. Okay, I can recreate it and make it look as pretty, but does it have the foundation? And that's where I get concerned. As a chef with a lot of younger chefs, what I try to teach them is foundation. I mean, I'll say things to them like, do you know how to make bouillabaisse? No, chef, I've never made it. I go, okay. Do you know what a sauce americaine is? And these are things that you would never know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we don't have a clue about any of that.
But you don't have to. Yeah. But as a chef.
That's why I pay your restaurants.
Yeah, but I mean, so these are basic. There's basic knife cuts. There's certain things that, in the sense of the discipline of a culinary discipline, and I don't necessarily think that we need to stick to all those rules, because I like being able to mix and match. And it used to be, we call it fusion confusion food, which is food that you mix things up and no one knew why, and it had made no sense, and so you're putting donuts with I don't know, soy sauce or whatever it is, and you're like, whoa,
gold.
Whoa, what is that? But if you have knowledge about food, and you have knowledge about ingredients, and you have this encyclopedia of understanding food, which is what people need now. So I like Instagram, and I like the ability to go to the internet and get an immediate answer. There's stuff that I don't know. I mean, I always say I got my master's in food, and in my PhD, I'll be learning the rest of my life about food. And then you can go and quickly, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's how you do that. Okay, now I get the nuances of what that is, and now I can, and apply it to what I'm doing. That's where I want the chefs to do. I don't want them just to look at a pretty picture and go, this is what I'm going to create. They need to understand how to get there and the steps in the process. That's really important in anything. I think if you look at the music world, you look at the art world, you can't just paint a picture and go, oh, I'm an artist now.
You'd be surprised.
You're right.
Okay, well, yeah, you're right. And I'm not saying that.
It happens so fast, though. Like you said, someone can go on the internet really quick and overnight may have not had the years of foundation of the basics, and then just so happens to whip up an odd dish and it goes viral or whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Overnight
Look at NFTs,
celebrity.
look at what's going on now. But, I like the ability to go and reference it and go, oh, wow, that's cool, because it used to be that we go to a library. What's the library? My kids don't know what a library is. And you go like, but in a library, but you have that reference on your phone now. Now you can go and say, okay, this ingredient, that ingredient, this is what it tastes like, this is where it came from, and this is how I'm going to mix and match it. Now that's great. So that instant, if you're educating yourself along the way, I'm 100% for it, and that's the most important thing, as opposed to, I'm going to be a TV star, I'm going to be a big chef, and everybody, and that's the wrong reason to get in this business.
Right.
And I discourage that. A lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. The right reason is you got to. One of the first questions I ask young chefs.
We teamed up with the Hero Company for an amazing cause. Wounded veterans are battling PTSD right now, and with all that they have sacrificed, you can now give back to them. When you purchase the Hero Company's Survival Paracord bracelet, you're helping fund the training of service dogs that are given to wounded veterans at no cost to them. Pretty sick. It's a life-changing gift and a tangible way to make an impact. Go support the cause and get 20% off with the code DOGS20 at herocompany.co.
Is that DOGS?
DOGS20.
Let's go.
And I always ask them when I don't interview everybody, but I go, let me ask them, what do you love to cook? Do you love to cook? What does cooking mean to you? Where do you get it from?
Right.
Is it in your heart? Because if it's not in your heart, chances are you're not gonna really reach your full potential.
Like, do you do this at home when no one's around? There's no cameras, no nothing, no one to impress. You just have to make yourself something incredible.
Right. Or what do you cook for yourself at home? Well, I never cook for myself at home, chef. I go, why? Like, I go to the market and I go, wow, I see something really cool, and I go, oh, I'm gonna cook this. I want to figure out how to do it. So because it's a constant. It's a craft too. Like, and if you don't practice your craft, and people ask me, do I still cook? I go, I still cook all the freaking time, because as much as I possibly can, because I hate the fact that I'll go. And I remember when I started first opening all my restaurants, I would not cook for 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time, and then I would be like, fuck, I want to cook, and I miss it.
Yeah,
I miss.
Just doing the business part, the showy stuff.
I miss burning my hands. I miss cutting my fingers. I miss I miss the pain and agony
I
of
love that.
cooking.
Yeah.
So what are you cooking at home?
I do. It's like for example, I went to International Market, and I don't know if you've ever been to International Market. One of my favorite places, because you just wander around and and it has all these weird, bizarre ingredients from all over the world.
Okay.
So I've been playing around with Mediterranean seafood, bizarre seafood, anguillas from Spain, which is a little baby eel, and you mix them.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and
We'll eat it. Let's go.
it looks like spaghetti when you eat them, but then they have eyes and they look back at you, and you toss them in garlic, and we put them on sashimi. On sushi, nigiri. So we mix it around in the sense that I try to figure out ways of using those ingredients. So I'll just play with it at home.
Just get a random idea and just go nuts.
Different ways just to even do cacio e pepe, which is a great dish, but different pasta cuts, different ways of handling tomatoes. Simple things along the way. I get hooked on things. So one of the things, like I actually did on Martha Stewart once. She had me come on. We did actual true bouillabaisse from start to finish.
Okay.
And it took that whole half an hour of the show, and we went from one end to this. It's actually on YouTube. It's pretty funny to watch. But
go check that out, guys.
Yeah. You may need to smoke some before you watch it, but that's all right.
We can also do that. Yeah.
Martha Stewart condones that as well. It's okay.
100%. She's in the business now.
Yeah.
She and Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah, let's go.
By the way, the funniest show in the world to watch Snoop
The
and
best.
Martha. Oh my God, you got to get them on. Get them on this show.
I would love to have Martha Stewart and or Snoop Dogg.
We'll even bring a portable cooking setup.
Let's go. We'll
It
change
is
the studio.
Beyond funny. Oh my God. Yeah. So So anyway, that's
Cooking everything.
and then like dashi. Dashi or miso soup. I get hooked on all these things. I have 15 different misos. A red or yellow, whichever one, a fermented one, and I'll play around with different flavors, and so that's what I love. And my poor girlfriend is like, do I have to try another one? I'm like,
yeah, babe, you have to, and you have to love it. Yeah.
It's better than like my wife, who has a husband who doesn't cook anything, or I cook the core basics, right? Just the very.
I got
very
about
basic.
3 items: a burger,
Yeah.
some fried rice,
There
and
you
like
go.
some chicken.
Yeah, you're
That's
good.
about it.
You're better than me, that's for sure. Well, back to the internet real quick.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on Yelp?
Yelp has gone through different phases of when they started, and I think that Yelp is very important. 90% of the time it is a true thing, and I think it's good. It's a good thing. You gotta listen to it, because there's always 1 or 2 people that will Yelp you, and just because whatever reason they had a bad day.
Sure, they had a bad day.
Maybe they did have a bad experience. It's happened. We can't be perfect every day. And so you listen to it. Yeah, I 100% use it as a tool. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I use it too. Like, I'm not a big Yelper, like leaving reviews, but if I venture out to a new city, I think the platform still reigns supreme when looking for new spots to eat at or dine or just information in general.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you.
Yeah, 100%.
My only issue with Yelp is I feel like, and we've talked about this before because I made fun of my wife because she's a chronic. She looks at Yelp all the time, but she never leaves reviews.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that does bother me is that I think a lot of people digest the information quite a bit, but never put any.
Right.
Like, if they have a great experience, they don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
But then they judge a venue or a restaurant or whatever
based on everybody
based
else.
on everyone else's reviews. But they don't. When something is really great to them, they also don't provide it in there, which I always find interesting. And I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah.
Like whenever I have.
Well, you just said that, Drew. You said you rarely. Yeah, I'm guilty of that as well.
Well,
so.
when people go into a place, they're expecting a great experience.
Yeah.
So when they get the great experience, like, okay, that's what I was expecting. I don't need to tell everyone about it because I went in here expecting it to be great and it wasn't. It's when someone was expecting something to be great and it wasn't.
Think about it. So, back when I first started, it used to be the food critic of that city.
Sure.
And it was like Mimi Sheridan or Craig Claiborne, or whoever was in New York Times. They made or break They really
did.
It was a made or break restaurants, and it would be if they were in the dining room, or sometimes you didn't know that that I can't remember, was it Thursdays that the review came out? I think Thursdays the days it came out back in the day, and that was like we would run to the newsstand at midnight to find the review, and it would be like you would be like happy or. The worst few days of your life after that. And you just hope that nobody read it.
But everyone read it.
Everyone read it.
Thousands of people read it.
And then if it was a great review, your restaurant you couldn't get a reservation. It was packed, And so that was what you'd shoot for, But, that was another era. And now, there's so many different opinions about restaurants. But social media still encourages word of mouth.
Sure.
So
for sure.
And people will say, I still look at our reviews. I look at what people write, our social media. We have our social media team. They look all the time. What is it good? Was it bad? We need to answer this person. Maybe so there is a sort of a great line of communication if you have to. But, it's still...
Yeah, I guess you always get feedback.
Yeah, you're always going to. It's just the modern day word of mouth, to where back in the day you told, 5 to 10 people about your experience. And now, if you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, now you're direct to consumer at 100,000 people.
I mean, I just did a big influencer dinner for David Dobrik.
Okay. Wow, that's
and
the top of the top.
In L.A.
Yeah.
So I was at David Dobrik's house, and we cooked for all the influencers, which is all the new world to me. But, I mean, I understand it. And it's amazing, like, how much response. And these are 5 and 10 and $20 million followers. I mean, and they make a lot of money, too, $20 million a year. But it's crazy, and it's like, that's the world we live in. So it's you either fight it or you don't. You gotta live with it. And I like it. Because it's a great way to tap into something that you may never get to tap into.
Sure.
And you got to be hyper aware of it. You got to be able to react to it, get people to, and go, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
For sure. I think you can also be highly rewarded by it. Like you said, when the critic who was vitally important in the past in LA or New York or wherever gave you a good or bad review, it shifted the tide of your restaurant. Or now is you have someone who come in and has a great time and puts it on their social media unbeknownst and like, not hired, just organically, it can change the dynamic of your restaurant. People just go nuts for it. So you can be rewarded for having really great product all the time, which is, I think, a positive.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the thing about the restaurant, it's still about what you produce, and I think there's an authenticity that's still there, and a realness. People want it more than ever. And I think that experience, giving them an authentic experience, as authentic as you can, will always resonate and always serve you well.
100%.
Yeah.
If you're putting out good stuff, people will like it. Let's go. Let's throw back again. You were the first ever U.S. Iron Chef.
Yeah.
That show was an absolute phenomenon.
It was cool.
At that period of time on TV, Iron Chef was
the biggest.
Hands down the biggest.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that experience a little bit?
Well, it was pretty cool because the first episodes we did were here in Vegas at the MGM.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? That's where it filmed?
Yeah, in the arena.
Sick.
MGM Arena.
Okay.
We had like 10,000 people in the stands.
Like a live audience?
Live audience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We had, I remember them telling you there's 17 or 8, it was some specific number like that. 27 cameras. That was the number. 27 cameras. And it was a lipstick camera, stuff that was not really being used a lot. So things, they watch you from every angle. The Grand Poobah was Shatner. Which
Yeah.
was,
Right.
Yeah.
Which he was so good at it. And it was a trip. It was so much fun, and I did a number of episodes, and it was, and I was a kid. I played a lot of sports, but it was that kind of feeling.
Right.
You had butterflies in your stomach when you went on stage. It was full-on competition, and you never realized how fast an hour goes, until I'm with you guys on set too.
Yeah, exactly. dragging.
No, it's going great.
Bring Shatner back. Bring Shatner back.
No, I'm kidding. It was awesome. Yeah, it was fun. And then the USA didn't hold on to it, and off it went to the Food Network.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. But I had a good time while I did it. It was fun.
It was so epic.
Yeah.
That whole situation, because just the competition in general, the people
Yeah.
that you were going against was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was serious. And then because of that, I got invited to Israel and a couple other big countries that had that same competition. So I went and represented USA.
Oh, you did a couple of the
in
international
Israel
ones.
and in where else did I go? I think Denmark. Anyway, they had this show,
Right.
And I yeah. So I represented well.
Let's go. Iron Chef USA versus Iron Chef Denmark. Come on. Come on. Do you think that helped? I mean, that catapult your career a lot, that Iron Chef stigma? Because it felt like that was such a reputable.
Yeah, well,
to the
it
normal American.
had just come from Japan. And it was getting popular. People would watch it because it was just so weird. And the one in Japan, I mean, it was, but entertaining. It's super entertaining because, it was very dramatic, very Japanese.
Yeah,
Very over the top,
and it would be like, I think it's too salty here, and to them it was great. It'd be awesome. And the judges were great, and I forget what I just call them the Grand Poobah, but I forget who they were. But the host of the show,
Right.
And it's like, start the competition, and it was very dramatic.
It was very flairish.
Yeah,
it
was great. So, so I think certainly, I think it, there's a certain time when you go, okay, when you're known locally, and then all of a sudden you kind of get recognized on a national or international level, and that's been the wildest thing for me is when I travel international now, is to be recognized,
Right.
which is pretty wild. Yeah.
It is crazy, but it can transcend a lot. Do you like cooking on TV? Do you like that?
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So,
God, there's got to be so much pressure.
Yeah,
I could never.
Yeah, but I think if you do it so much, I've been doing it for so long, a long time, and I mean, for example, I love golf. I don't know if you like golf, but I love golf. And I'm decent at it. I'm not great because I haven't spent as much time as I should. But I went and played. I got invited to do the Ryder Cup Pro-Am.
Okay.
So this is with Bill Murray and
Yeah.
Kelly Slater and all these Kurt Russell and
Cool.
and anyway, we're on the first tee. There's 10,000 people watching, and Roy McIlroy is there, and and standing next to me, and he looks at me, he goes, "Hey mate, are you nervous?" Fuck yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah,
man. What the fuck do you think? And he goes, "Yeah, I get nervous too sometimes." I go, "You get nervous?" He goes, "Here." He gives me a sip of his tequila. He goes, "Go and take a whack at it."
And how was your tee shot?
I got off the tee.
There we go.
Hey,
There were people lined up on both sides, so I was just like, I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah. It's either fairway or a headshot.
I don't know what's more nerve-wracking, golfing or cooking in front of 10,000 people.
Well, also people on both sides too. I mean, I'm known to slice one, and my slice is a fucking gnarly slice.
Yeah.
I'm dome shotting someone for
that's
sure.
Golf is more dangerous for other people, for sure. Cooking is just yourself.
You could cut your finger off.
Yeah,
it's
that's
only
fine.
you.
That's only you. That poor lady who's going to get one in the jaw. That's
Right.
tough.
That's right. I
That's
know.
different. That's different.
But I was making the correlation with those guys. Even they get nervous.
They get nervous.
I
yeah.
get nervous. Sure, you get a little nervous, but when out of reputation, you do it so much.
Yeah.
It
gets easier over
they're
time.
like, look at them. They hit the ball in front of millions of people on TV. And I think about that. I think, how could they do that?
Yeah, they've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
If you're
Second
getting
nature.
paid to do something, you better be able to do it well.
Yeah. Exactly.
So-
Mostly because, in every other sport,
Yeah.
everyone's trying to make noise to mess you up.
Yeah.
But in golf, it's the exact
Oh,
opposite.
exactly.
Everyone just silences you and stares at you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that silence is eerie. Whenever you've seen like golf.
Yeah, it would
in
be
person,
better if everybody was just screaming.
Yeah,
and yelling.
really
Going
screaming
crazy.
at you.
16th hole.
That'd make you feel more
I
comfortable.
never really thought about it, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good point.
tell me your real opinion so I can focus. I don't want you to be silent because I know you're thinking something.
No, because then it gets into your head, and
Yeah.
golf is
Yeah.
all about getting into your head.
Someone say something.
It's the hardest game, too. It's the absolute hardest game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
So speaking of reality TV, you almost had a show with your family, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah.
never happen? Why did that never happen?
Yeah, Bravo came to me, pretty heavy, hard on, and it was the beginning of the Kardashian. I didn't know what it was, and the last thing I felt was, do I really want to expose my family to that?
Sure.
We kind of shot a half a day, and I'm like, this is not going. No. It was just. For whatever reason, I said no. I don't think. What do I want to expose my family? And then what if it, blunders the first series, and then
Right.
all of a sudden you're kind of the laughing stock of. I didn't think
They
it
feel
was.
bad.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was the right timing to do it. I've been approached to do something now. For one of the other big networks, and. I said, look, if I have 100% control over this,
Sure.
That's
Sure.
what it is.
Yeah, that's
right?
what
If
you
the
need.
network can just cut
Yeah.
and paste.
Yeah, and then it's all about the editing.
Exactly.
Of course.
Just make it do whatever
as
you
you
want.
know. So I just want to make sure you edit this show right.
Yeah,
Oh, you know it.
we're coming in here.
You got all
We're,
the
absolutely
bleeps.
know it.
I think I dropped an F-bomb.
we're,
or two.
we're gonna edit that out. So he's just gonna say I could have been the Kardashians.
What about TikTok? Are you on TikTok at all?
I'm beginning to do it.
You should get on TikTok and
Yeah.
stay consistent on TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on it. My social media is working
You're
on it. Yeah. I have a team that works on it. Yeah.
Good, good.
So,
Could have been the Kardashian.
Yeah. Well,
Could have been the Englishes.
Look at and I'm
Worked out for them.
I'm not to compare myself to them, but I'm just saying that it wasn't really a known.
Right.
Sure. No one knew.
No one knew
No
what
one knew.
reality was, and I looked at it as like, holy fook.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
going to do that. What am
Yeah.
I doing that for? Yeah.
I could see that. Honestly, we've talked about it before, especially we've had
Yeah.
some other people who are on reality shows and just something that I'm okay with being in front of the camera. We both
Yeah.
are,
Yeah,
right?
obviously,
But
yeah.
my wife absolutely hates it,
Yeah.
right? She would never do a reality show. We tried to do a family YouTube channel and just didn't go anywhere either, And like
How many? You have kids?
I did. We have
Yeah.
one daughter.
One daughter. Yeah.
And it just didn't work. So she's not into it, right? So I could see how that dynamic, and like
Yeah.
you said, if you don't have 100% control, all of a sudden you think, oh, that went pretty well.
Right.
And then you see the
They flip
episode.
it. They control the narrative.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So,
I can 100% see that. Well,
Yeah.
it must be incredible, by the way, your daughter
yeah.
being in the food industry as well.
Yeah. I try not to encourage it,
Yeah,
but
tough choice.
yeah.
Tough choice.
She went to NYU. She graduated, at the School of Independent Studies there, and she did really well. And then she got her first job was with working with one of the food magazines.
Cool.
She went from there to Williams-Sonoma, and has never looked back. And now she's their youngest director of culinary. She's the culinary director.
Huge.
So
Love
she loves it. And she's
Yeah.
super talented. She's far more talented than me. And so she's got it all. And she does all their on-camera stuff. So I'm obviously proud papa talking now. But
There you go. You had some credit. Take a little bit. 3 to 5%. That's about it.
that's all
That's all
I
I
get.
want.
That's all I get.
Yeah.
That's all she'd give me too.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
That's
a
I'm
fair
okay with
trade.
that.
I'm okay.
I'm all right. Yeah, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad. We're cooking events. So, Dad, get out of the kitchen. I got it. Okay, I'm right. I'm leaving. All right, I got it. I'll be over having a beer at the bar.
I'm out of here.
Is that hard for you to watch people and want to like get behind and do something? Is it hard for
All
you?
the time.
Yeah, is it hard to look?
When I'm over at people's houses, and I see them struggling, I kind of just ease my way in.
Yeah, you want to throw the towel over your shoulder and get
then
busy.
Before you know it, I'm making food with them.
Sidestep, right? Everyone out.
Fuck out of the way.
Everyone out. Clear
Yeah.
some space.
I'd never do that to you guys, though. Don't worry.
Appreciate that.
Oh, please don't. Yeah, I'm absolutely trash. I'll just tell you now.
Yeah.
I'll just come cook.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't even bother in there. 100%.
Well, people ask me that question. What is it like when you go over to other people's houses to eat? I go, it's fine. I don't. As long as it's a good bottle of wine or a bottle of whatever, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get me messed up a little bit, so I don't judge your food too hard.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'd love a Thai English wine night one. That would be fantastic.
We can do it.
That's fantastic.
Or come to the Pepper Club, the new one we did.
There we go.
Come in, we'll do a sake night. It'd be fun.
Also,
we also love sake.
Yeah, who doesn't love? I love sake.
Well,
We're actually going to start brewing our own sake here.
Really? No shit.
First sake brewed in Las Vegas, baby.
really?
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's super cool.
Well, they have the brewery row.
Yeah, right
so
there.
Neon Brewery is one of our investors in the hotel. So we're going to start. We have a sake master coming from Japan, and we're going to do our own sake. So sake Las Vegas.
That'll be amazing.
That's
Sake
sick.
to me. Sake to me. Las Vegas.
I love that.
Let's go.
I will beer bong a
Yeah.
whole bottle of sake, whatever
Yeah.
you guys need for some content.
By the way, sake's my most favorite drunk. Like, I'm
Really?
so happy. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I get hungover. I feel really good. I really like it. It can go down fast. I can taste the difference between
Cold
them.
or hot? Cold.
Cold.
Yeah, cold. Yeah,
Yeah,
cold.
Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, me too. We'll have a sake night.
That's
See,
good.
I don't think I've had that many drunk sake nights to where I can put it in a category. Of
Not
how
like
I'm
yeah.
feeling,
I meant just like like you're feeling good. Like
Yeah, it
instead
makes
of
you feel
wine-
good.
Yeah, it does.
makes you feel
It
good.
does.
It's like a happier version.
And it's actually, in the technical sense, it has more nuances than wine. So it actually is more compatible with the food than wine is.
Wow.
Actually,
Okay.
technically, I wouldn't know. I'm still learning because I don't get it totally, but I
right.
figure I keep drinking. People ask me, how do you learn about wine? Well, you drink a lot of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Practice.
How do you know so much?
Damn practice, people.
That's
I care about my trade. I care about my trade.
Another
Because
bottle to the table, please.
I need to know about that section of Bordeaux.
Yes.
One more time, give me
Bring
that
another
bottle.
one, please.
Just what were you doing last night? Research and development.
Yeah,
That's it.
sorry. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And hopefully you remember most of it.
How do you think? I was taking notes. That's how. I,
Oh, right. That's it.
taking notes.
Now you can take photos, and they have a wine searcher now on your phone.
Yep.
So you just take a photo of it.
of the label.
and
It'll pull it up.
and it records what you drank, and you can take notes, good, bad,
Ooh, I like
thumbs
that.
up, thumbs down.
Thumbs
up, thumbs
yeah,
down.
So yeah, it's
Strategy.
It's a good that
Then
way-
you can prove it was work. See,
Yeah.
I entered something in here.
It's a write-off at that point.
Yes.
Wrote it off. Business
Right.
expense.
It's a write-off. Actually, let's talk about Vegas, the downtown Vegas. So you just opened the English Hotel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
guys, go check it out.
Yeah.
And the Pepper Club, which is the restaurant inside. How do these concepts end up in downtown Las Vegas?
Well, I had, I guess Tony Shea was a good buddy of mine, and
Okay.
he sort of was encouraging me to look at places down there with him as he was building his portfolio down there, and I came across this opportunity at the hotel, and unfortunately, it was already after he passed, but during the time that he,
Yeah.
and so I never had the opportunity to tell him. I'm opening this hotel because we were kind of still cutting the deal, and here we are. And I just during pandemic, my girlfriend and I, we lived in the Turnberry Towers when
Okay.
when
Yeah.
I first just moved out here. Okay, so it was like, okay, I'm 30 years in New York. Let me see how Vegas is. And I'd been coming out here anyway.
Sold, right.
A lot because Steve brought me out here in '98. So I'm like, okay, let me try this. And so what we would do is we do coffee at the Vesta Coffee or one of the coffee. There's a bunch of good coffee bars down there. And walk around, walk my little dog, my pandemic dog, which is Pepper, by the way, is his name.
Wait, it's named after your dog?
Yes.
Love that. Absolutely fucking love
Dog
that.
gets a restaurant.
Let's go.
I love
Let's
that.
go.
Yeah, everybody goes, yeah, okay, yeah. And I go, yeah, well, here's Pepper. Anyway, and so anyway, long story short, I just love the air. I guess I've always sort of gone into areas where you could just feel them turning, and I've just always had this spidey sense nose. Sometimes I've been good. Most of the time, I've gotten pretty good about that, and I felt like this was just an area that it's there's only so much real estate.
Yep.
And Vegas is going to come back. Vegas isn't going anywhere. New York's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Vegas has to survive.
Anyone who said Vegas is dead is just an idiot.
They just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people said that.
Too big to fail,
That's it.
guys.
I was like, there is way too much investment. There's way too
Yeah.
much going on here, and people are going to still want to go have fun.
Yep.
Or gamble or do
Of course.
whatever. And all the shows are here. And, what I've learned about Vegas and being here is that there's so much incredible talent, not only just from the entertainment standpoint, but also culinary talent. If you go to Spring Mountain Road, which we did a lot during pandemic, takeout or whatever, but holy cow, this is the biggest and maybe one of the best Chinatowns in the country.
It really is.
Or Asian communities. Yep. And so, and it almost seems like every time we go there, you discover a new one.
There's so many little tiny pockets.
Yeah.
How did you decide that you wanted to transition to a whole entire hotel?
I always wanted to do a hotel, just because I'd had so many relationships with hotels, and I'd spent so much time in hotels.
Yeah.
And when I had 58 restaurants and I travel around the world, I'd probably be in hotels 220 days a year,
right?
Maybe more. And so, I don't know. It goes back to my infatuation with buying Park Place on the Monopoly board.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
And always wanting to put a hotel on it. Once you put your hotels on it, that's it. So maybe it came from that. I don't know.
But it makes sense, the transition over time after you open up 50, 60 restaurants.
Yeah.
Might as well build the building around the restaurant too.
Exactly.
Do you have your own room there?
I don't yet.
Wow.
But I do have a room.
Sure.
I always.
God, the guy can't get a
Oh,
room.
you can absolutely probably get a room.
The dog gets a restaurant, give the guy a room. Come on.
I know people.
Yeah. It's got a guy.
Yeah, I got a guy.
You got a guy.
Just let me know. You need.
We're going to come in and have a night.
You need a
for sure.
staycation. Let me know.
There you go. By the way, we love the addition to downtown. Obviously, we've all been big fans of downtown, and we've seen the evolution over the years, which has been unreal.
Arts District in particular, it's came a long way in the 5 years, and it's still so early, I believe.
Yeah. I think it's going to fill up pretty quick. And
Absolutely.
I think that people are going to really start noticing it. And, and I love the local bend to it, because people outside of here don't really understand the community.
It's all locals.
Understand that there's a huge group of really nice people, actually, because most people are in the hospitality business here or entertainment. And typically, those kind of, us kind of people, I can speak for all of us, are pretty cool people, pretty nice. They're about being generous, about being about their community, about having fun, being with their friends, very gregarious. That's kind of the type of personality that lives here. And so when you look at downtown or the Arts District, there's got to be more places to go, than Summerlin, and I think that's great. I think what they have there is great. And I was at the farmers market last weekend. It's spectacular. And but I think there's going to be a lot more of that, and I think that community is such a huge thing that we promote, and that's what I love about the Arts District, is creating community. So and I love community, because community is what supports you, and when we opened Olives at Bellagio, we had so many local patrons, and that was the one thing we did. We took only, if you had a 702 area code, you got a special reservation. You got a special number that you call.
Interesting.
And that's how we built that local community, and get great people coming for lunch. We had the West Valet there. It was easy to park.
Yeah.
You didn't have to go by the
main
slot machines and then ding, 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 ding.
Sure. I mean, one of the most iconic restaurants spread across numerous cities probably of all time. Yeah, Olives.
We did well for a long time.
It was a solid run.
Yeah, and then that was such a great. Steve Wynn and Elaine, they were amazing to me and I mean, that was my first restaurant outside of Boston.
Yeah.
And it was such a great, it was great. I mean, it was so funny, because I would get calls, at 2 a.m. Steve had just left the restaurant, and I'd be on the East Coast. I'd see the ring, and I go, "Hey, oh my God, Steve, what's up?" He goes, "Todd, your gnocchi suck tonight." I go, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" He goes, "I'm just fucking with you, Todd."
Fucking Steve Wynn.
Isn't that great? So that's the kind of guy he was. He was just, and he goes, "Oh, you're doing great here. You got, thanks so much." And then you go, click. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Go back to bed. Later.
I sometimes not even bye.
Yeah. Just thanks. That was it. I just wanted to rag on you for a couple seconds. Bye.
Exactly. That's it. Just to get
got nothing else to say.
Mr. Rahman, I'd be up for another 2 hours, like, pantsy.
That was close.
Just heart drops in the chest. Your gnocchi sucked. It's like, oh,
I'm gonna go double check that gnocchi.
I call the chefs. Do they have a good time? So that's some funny times.
Speaking of that, I mean, you had restaurants in Vegas for years. Do you have like an all-time Vegas story that we need to hear? Because I feel like you have to, or a few. You can tell them all.
Gosh, we did a wedding once where Elvis took over the whole. They did Elvis, and it was this whole bridal party on our patio, and that was interesting. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of some fun things that happened that were, I mean, look, just the idea that we would have these incredible celebrities that would come in.
Elvis Presley, yeah,
every night there would be somebody that would come in, and so that's probably the coolest things. One night it'd be Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky in the restaurant.
Come on, the two goats,
big goats. So those are the kind of things that happen.
You just got used to it over time.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it. Then I opened up one of the restaurants. Opened up for him was at the Mirage, and Siegfried and Roy would come into the restaurant every night, and I would cook them dinner. During the time, and they were very nice, sweet guys. They once brought in the little baby.
Come on, a tiger? Casual just brought in a tiger?
Brought in one for me to pet, in the kitchen. It's like a little baby. I'm like,
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, where else does that happen? Right?
Never, nowhere.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's pretty
classic.
Cool. That was pretty cool.
Do you have a biggest, funniest disaster that's ever happened in a kitchen while you were there?
I was trying to think about that. Yeah, there's always. I think every night there's a disaster.
Sure, right. Sure.
It's just how you deal with it. I think that we've had numerous things that happen in dining rooms. Once is we had Dan Aykroyd in one night with a bunch of guys in Harley jackets, and they sat at a table, and it was the night they were voting for Quebec to be secede from Canada.
Okay.
And he had a couple bottles of wine. He got up on the table, and it was like a skit on Saturday Night Live, and he sang the Canadian national anthem. And the restaurant went. This is before social media, because I would have been on Instagram everywhere. But he was just like, everybody stood up and applauded and went up and hugged him and high-fived him. And the restaurant was packed. It was the most incredible night.
Oh my God!
So, those are the kind of things there's always something that happens in the kitchen that's crazy, but nothing that is, to me, it's all normal.
Sure.
So nothing that's
right?
That would say, oh my God, this is the biggest disaster.
That's crazy.
I had a couple fires in the kitchen. That's happened over the years.
Casual.
Casual.
So we had this discussion earlier because Drew and I have been in and out of the restaurant industry for a very long time as well. What, in your opinion, what makes a successful restaurant?
There's no one formula. It's like you don't have this powder that you just put on it. But I think I think I go back to that word authenticity, and that you really you've got to have all those things that lead to what is going to happen in a restaurant. So meaning the front of the house has to be with the back house, who has to encourage it. It has to be the right concept. You have to serve the right food. You got to have the right music. You got to have the right ambiance. But I go back to that one thing is that restaurant, you got to be a little crazy. It's got to be something that's a little bit different, a little bit more adventurous, and people go, oh my God, this is something so cool. And it has to have a little edge, and that edge is always something that I talk to about people that make it better than make it different, make it better, make it something that hasn't been seen before, or has been seen but done in a different way, a better way. There's no one thing that makes it special. It's very hard to, if I said there was, I don't know if there's any restaurateur that could tell you that, or chef that say there's one reason, is because I made the best soup l'oignon. No.
Yeah.
That's half the battle.
Sure.
The other half is, did it get out there on time? Did the server make it right? Did it taste good? All those things. So
we've seen plenty of restaurants with amazing food that have not lasted. I'm sure you've seen so many restaurants, countless restaurants with incredible food that just haven't lasted.
There was an article in New York about, there's one year it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 3-star reviewed restaurants went out of business. And why? And no one could really put their finger on it. It's hard to say, but were they not fun? I don't know. I do think that if I was going to also say one thing, that people have to leave a restaurant saying, I had a great time. It was fun.
Sure. Yep.
They don't, they're not going to come back.
No.
And that's it. And I think that is, it's a simple thing, but what does that mean? Because and nowadays is, how do you make everybody feel even that more special, which is another hard thing to do. But it's very, there's some reservation systems and things that you can use now that will send out special messages to people and make them feel, and you can do that now. You can communicate with people, and that's a super important thing. So we used to actually do something in the restaurants where I had cards. Again, this is pre-social media, and we'd have every person on the wait staff fill out a card and send it to their guests. Thank you for coming.
Oh, wow.
They'd have to do 5 a night, each one. So it'd be, 6 servers, 30, 80 cards, it adds up. And everybody would be like, it was a handwritten note.
Wow.
We paid for the stamps, we paid for everything, but they had to say, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, for coming in. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed your
I love that.
Onion soup.
Yeah.
That goes a long way, though. You'd be surprised.
It really does.
And handwritten.
That's the biggest part, too.
Yeah. Because,
There's those small, I don't know if I ever told you this, but there's one restaurant that I went to one time that I'll remember forever, and it was because of the smallest thing that made no impact on like the overarching theme of it. But in the valet, when I got back in, they had a box with a bow in it that said thank you for coming, with like a biscotti from the restaurant in valet. By the way, that has nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. Couldn't even eat it. But I've never forgot that in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thank you for coming, and here's this box or whatever, and with a note that said thank you on it.
Yeah, no, it's a simple thing.
It's the
It
smallest
really
thing.
is. The smallest things.
It's the nuances,
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of stars, which is more impactful for a chef, Michelin stars or the James Beard Awards?
That's they have different meanings.
Sure.
But they're both super impactful. I won the first ever Rising Star Award in 1990. That was the first year of the James Beard Awards, and it changed my life. It literally changed my life. All of a sudden, I'm getting invited to cook on yachts, to cook here, to cook all over the world, to open restaurants all over the world, and it was one award, one night, James Beard Award. So, sometimes Michelin stars are, I won't say not authentic, but sometimes they are positioned in a way that, because if you follow a certain guideline, you get a certain amount of stars.
Got it.
So I think I'm finding that there's other ones out there, like 50 Pellegrino restaurants now. There's other ones out there that are kind of almost more impactful, that will pack your restaurant.
Sure.
So you look at Massimo Bottura in Italy, in Modena. He's got a restaurant there, Osteria Francesca, and it's, forget getting a reservation. Right, there was a restaurant. There's been so many over the years, but that's the type of those kind of awards are, again, you're only serving 30, 60 people a night.
Sure,
So,
sure.
What are the chances of getting in? And those special moments are great. So I think, they're both equally impactful, but just in a little bit different ways. I think from the standpoint of James Beard Awards, that's more about the chef and about the actual chef, and the Michelin is about the restaurant.
Got it. That makes sense.
Do you like the Michelin system?
I mean, I do. I think, I think that Michelin has its quirks, and the problem with the Michelin system is there's just a certain amount of people that go around and rate you, as opposed to James Beard Awards are your actual counterparts, your colleagues in the business that vote for you.
Right.
So that's a different thing. So when you're getting, I vote every year for the James Beard. They ask me to review the chefs and we put in our vote for best Northeast, best New York, and that's how it works. And so Michelin is, you've got a group of people that go around
Give their
and give
opinions.
their hopeful opinion. Now, is it always the right opinion? Who knows?
Right.
Maybe it's jaded, So
What is the qualifications of being someone who rates a Michelin star?
Yeah, do you have to
restaurant?
be like culinary trained, own or
That's a good
operate a
question.
restaurant? Do you like?
I don't know.
could
Yeah.
we just go around and just give
Yeah.
Michelin
Yeah.
stars
Yeah.
out? Just you get a star,
like,
you get a star.
Yeah.
They gave me a little box of biscotti. That's
Yeah,
three stars for that
fine.
guy.
I'm allergic to nuts. Fuck them. Yeah.
They almost killed me, but hey,
Yeah.
they gotta have that EpiPen in my
Yeah.
leg.
Oh, fuck.
It's true.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because I don't know that answer either.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, well, they have to have a certain qualification, but you're sort of voted in, and I don't know all the
It's a fraternity of its own, I
You
guess.
can buy some of that, but you can't.
Sure.
Right.
But I still think there is a certain intensity that you have to operate at in order to even be considered in that world.
Sure.
So
I don't think we qualified.
We do not qualify. No, probably not.
maybe if there were Michelin stars for chicken wings.
Yes.
I could probably fuck that up too. You'd be surprised.
By the way, I bet
You'd
you
be
that's
surprised.
That sounds like a huge business, by the way.
Yeah, come on.
100%.
I'm telling you, I was. Yeah, I mean,
100%.
See, that's the thing. My point is, if a good hot dog should have a good Michelin star. If it's good, why
Yeah.
not? Right? I mean, if it's fucking awesome.
Gay porno did it for pizzas. Every other
Yeah,
category
okay.
could do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Is there a dish you have not mastered yet?
God, I don't know. There's a lot of them. There's this. I had this once in Italy, and I still haven't figured it out. It was this sort of souffled omelet stuffed with artichokes that to me, has baffled me because it was so perfect. And so it's such a simple thing, and I've never made the noodles by hand, the Chinese noodles. By them, I've not mastered those yet.
Okay.
We could take a trip to Chinatown and get into some shit. Yeah.
So I'm working on that. But there's little things like that. There's probably so many dishes that I'm sure that because how can you cook to everything around
course,
the world?
sure.
I mean, when I did my food trip show, I would go to these remote places, and I would be like, maybe I don't want to cook that again.
That was a good episode.
We're out. I sauteed beehive. Okay.
We are fucking out.
That tasted like crap.
Call that a day.
No, thank you. I don't want to have to ever eat that. How about bamboo worms fried? Okay, maybe a bamboo.
Sounds horrible.
Not gonna eat a bamboo worm.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, some of that stuff's pretty. Yeah,
What is the most exotic thing that you've had to eat?
yeah. That's always a good question. Yeah, what did I eat? I've eaten some weird stuff in Africa. Like I have eaten, a lot of game. I ate, but still one of the things that I still have to choke down. And I have a restaurant in the Philippines, and it's called Bulu.
Balut. I had that shit.
What is it?
Go ahead, chef.
Yeah,
Tell him. Go ahead.
it's pretty nasty. So it's an unborn, unhatched bird, chicken. So the inside is still a little bird, and they boil it, and you eat it, and it's kind of the bones and
Juice.
juice
Yeah.
and beak, and it's crunchy.
I mean, the sales pitch is. I'm on it.
It's like a duck embryo. And they love it.
Where did you have this?
At Full House Barbecue.
Do they do it here?
Yeah,
they do it.
On special request.
Yeah, on special
But they
request.
do it.
It's like a casual
but I guess
Postmates
in the
day.
Philippines, they have like these people walking around with backpacks full
Yeah.
of just these balut, these duck eggs, and they're big.
Yeah.
And they like crack them open
Well,
and eat them on the
they
street.
do duck and chicken. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
And it was just, I couldn't do it. And mine had like a little baby beak and shit. I couldn't
Yeah.
do it, chef. It was sketch.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you even know. 'Cause,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, that's the only reason I know is because I went there. My friend who was Filipino was like, hey, man, let's get some balut. And I was like, fuck yeah, order the balut.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah. Ask for a follow-up question.
Never
always
again.
First. Can I have a description, please?
But I ate it all. And I had to eat it holding my breath, chewing, and just swallowing just to not make them feel bad.
Yeah, just to be a part of the
Well,
community.
you asked for it.
Yeah.
Remember, you did
That
ask
is
for
true.
it.
I did. I said, yeah, go ahead and order it.
Yeah. There you go. It happens. Is there what's one dish that you think should be banned from restaurants forever?
Jesus. There's what should be banned? I would say well, this is where I get sort of off on things. Why it happens a lot. Restaurants will find a dish and then they repeat it over and over, and because it's a necessary evil. Like, I love it actually, but I'm just you see it all over the world. Avocado toast is one of those things. I'm like, fuck, I'm in, backwoods China, buying my cookware from wherever, and I'm like, oh my God, there's avocado toast on the menu. I'm like,
how's this possible?
how is this possible? So.
I need my $17 avocado
because
toast.
it's the most basic item. When they put avocado toast in it, like,
you just slice it real pretty, throw some bacon crumbles and a little feta on top. $17, sir.
Yeah, that's it. $18.99. See ya.
There's got to be a replacement for that someday.
Avocado toast is like the most like internet millennial made fun of product ever that we created. I agree with it.
Yeah. And it depends where you're from, because you have to say it the right way. Avocado.
Yeah.
Avocado. Otokovo. Right?
There you go.
And then they know. Last question.
Sure.
How did you get into THC infused products?
I was always fascinated with it. I mean, I felt like, you go back to my college days.
Right.
Sure. Same.
and I was just, we used to play around with it, and even in culinary school, and, and I would be like, this is something interesting here. And then as I studied it, I realized my sister went through breast cancer and passed away. But I started to cook with it to get help her, and I realized, you know what, I want to do this because I think there's some incredible medicinal stuff. And as I studied it more and more, it was more about the medicinal side of it. And then I realized that now there's the recreational side, and I think that, in a lot of ways, it probably is better than alcohol for us, because if you study it, if you're going to go down that road, there are a lot of benefits from it. So that's how I got into it.
So I saw that your brand, it's called The Leaf, right?
Last Leaf. Yeah.
Last Leaf.
Yeah.
And it's THC infused mac and cheese is one of them?
Yep.
It looks incredible. I need some.
We're
gonna get some.
I need to bring you some. I'm sorry I didn't bring it. I'll get you some. Yeah,
it looks incredible.
I was at Planet 13 yesterday, just wandering around, looking around. I had never been in that place.
It's huge, right? It's like Disneyland.
It's Disneyland of all
of
that
weed.
stuff.
Yeah,
weed.
there it is.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And I was like, but you know what I realized is there's no savory cannabis infused food there. Very, very, very little. I think
they're all gummies and stuff like
chocolates,
that. Gummies
and
I saw macaroons, and I saw Reese PC, that things like that. And the way we talk about it is with Last Leaf, and you can go to our Instagram. We have all sorts, and also if you buy it, we have a QR code that you can go to, and we have recipes that pull up recipes that I've cooked. So you can add lobster to it, you can add sausage, you can add all sorts of things to it, broccoli,
THC lobster mac.
Yeah.
Come on, perfect.
Oh, man,
it's a great night at home with the kids.
Perfect, absolutely. With the kids, absolutely. I need something I can do with the little monster. You know what I mean?
THC lobster mac. Let's go.
And on that note, one of the cool things that has happened is St. Jude Hospital has approached us just to help their kids too.
Oh wow!
Especially the more terminally ill kids. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we've been very encouraged by that. So. So there's two sides of it: the recreational side, but there's also the medicinal side and the health side, the healthy things that come out of it. And I think a lot of people are really discovering that. So it's good.
Do you see a THC Todd English restaurant down the road one day?
It could happen.
Hey!
There it is. He just winked. There it is.
Dropping exclusive news here on the Residency Podcast. Chef, thank you so much for coming on. This is amazing.
Great.
Guys, if you were in Las Vegas, the English Hotel, the Pepper Club just opened downtown. Todd English restaurants all over the world. You know how it is.
Yeah, don't forget the Beast at Area 15 and Olives at the Virgin Hotel.
Yeah, the Beast at Area 15 is sick. Guys, thank you as always at the Residency Pod. We'll see you next week.
Later.